G'day folks, it's Cortezerino. Welcome back. It has been a little while. I think it's nearly been 2 weeks at the moment since I've posted a video, and as many of you would have heard already, I've had a few health problems. It's not me losing interest in Minecraft, it's just me sort of being unable to do anything. So it's been about 10 days since I had a heart attack, guys, and it was completely unexpected, but looking back on the week before, I really should have seen it coming. I had what I thought was heartburn. I had that about 3 or 4 times, lasting about 10 minutes in the week leading up to it, and yeah, I thought it was heartburn, but it turns out it was angina, when the blood vessels in your heart are nice and narrow, so the blood's having trouble getting through. And then one morning, I went camping for a couple of days, and then when I got back one morning, I woke up and I got that heartburn again, and this time it did not go away, and I was starting to get a bit worried. My left shoulder was hurting, and then it went up into my jaw. My jaw started hurting as well, and my wife got on the Google, and we quickly surmised what was going on, and that was quite a daunting car ride to the hospital. It just kept getting worse and worse. The way I'd always pictured a heart attack is you get a pain in your chest, you clutch your chest, and then you pass out. It wasn't like that for me. It was just this awful sort of heartburn pain sort of in the center of my chest. And yeah, the shoulder and arm pain as well was sort of in the inside of my elbow and in the jaw, and yeah, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then in the emergency department, like they were giving me all these little things, putting things under my tongue and all kinds of stuff. It sort of climaxed with my heart just trying to beat out of my chest for about 30 seconds, and then it all sort of went away. I didn't know at the time, but they were giving me pills that widened the arteries around my heart that made it so the blood flow could get through a bit better. So I never passed out or anything, and they were unsure if it was a heart attack. Like, it was super, super painful, but they weren't sure. So what they do is they do these blood tests, and if you have a heart attack, I don't know the name of it, but your heart releases, I think, a protein or something that says, hey, I've just been under stress, and they do blood tests and they check for that. And sure enough, that was in my blood. So the big widowmaker heart attacks, they have about 5,000 of these, not 5,000, about 50,000 of these little things that they measure. I got up to 6,000, so It was still bad, but it wasn't a kill you sort of thing. So anyway, it was a Saturday that it happened, so I pretty much had to wait all Sunday in the hospital because on Monday all the surgeons would get back and they could have a look at me. So what they did is they kept me conscious for this, but they gave me some general anesthetic, and they put a thing in the artery in my wrist. And they sent that right up my arm, and I could feel the whole thing. They sent it right up my arm into my heart. They gave me these drugs, and the lady's like, this will make you feel a little bit loopy, but it just makes the whole operation go a bit better. And she gave it to me, and I'm like, I do not feel a thing. But they went ahead anyway, so I wasn't loopy at all through the whole op. But what they do is they send it up to my heart, and they release some dye. And then they take a bunch of x-rays, and the dye shows up, and basically they can see the arteries because they're filled with that dye. And it turns out that the 2 major arteries around the heart, the ones that when people get stents, it's because those ones are blocked up. Mine were 100% fine. There were no problems at all. But then there were these minor blood vessels around the heart. There were 2 of them that were super narrow, and they are the ones causing the problem. And apparently that is probably the best result I could have had. So they are all pretty sure that I will recover nicely, although, I mean, it's 10 days later now, and already just talking for for this 5 or 10 minutes since the video started. It's really taken it out of me. On a funny note though, I said during that operation when they put the thing in the artery in my wrist that they gave me those drugs, and I said it had no effect at all. Just after that, they took me back to my bed, and I'm there with my wife, and they bring in a medical student. So this is how they learn. They do a little assessment of me after the operation. They go away and they write it up. So this girl, she's very nervous, and she's talking to me. And I didn't realize, but that's when the drugs started hitting me. So after the end of the operation, the drugs started hitting me, and I started going a little bit loopy. And I feel sorry for that poor girl. I really do. I was really out of it. But anyway, guys, so I just had to have a little rest, and this is what Minecraft is for me at the current time. I can do a little bit, 20 or 30 minutes, and then I've just got to stop and have a rest. And, I'm only 41. To look at me, you would think that guy would never have a heart attack. I'm not overweight. I do have a bunch of risk factors, though. I didn't think I had a family history, but when I had my heart attack, a cousin of mine that I only see about once every 10 years contacted my parents and said, yep, I've got it too. So it turns out I was really at risk of this heart attack, and I didn't even know it. And it's unfortunate too. Like, I thought after a week I'd be back at the gym and training up, and I would sort all my problems out. But, my body is very, very strong. I feel like I could go for a run, but my heart won't even let me really walk up a flight of stairs quickly at the moment. So it's going to take a little bit longer than I anticipated. And historically, I've been a very healthy guy. I know how to diet and all that. So I've been home for about 7 days. I started eating correctly, and I do know how to eat correctly. So I've lost 6 kilos in those 7 days. Not starving myself, just eating the absolute perfect things you would eat. And it's horrible and boring, but anyway, that's what I'm doing. So yeah, I thought I would be much back in action much faster than I seem to be getting back in action, but I guess it's going to be nice and slow. So we are definitely going to have fewer videos at the moment, guys, just until I can get back on my feet. But you'll notice I've been walking around this thing the entire time here, guys, for this video. In those 7 days, while I've been able to, I've been slowly chipping away at the ocean base here, and we are basically done. And this one does have a few differences to the creative one, so you are going to get a world download here. So this one, basically, I wanted to do a lot more differences, but I just haven't felt up to it. So a lot of the differences I've done from the one I did in creative is mostly in the garden here. We've got lots and lots of differences down here, but most of the buildings up there are the same. Like, I wanted to do different buildings up the top, but yeah, just do not feel up to it at the moment. So you will have 2 versions of the ocean base you can download. There will be the one I built in creative, which you can find in the description of this video, and then my survival world version that you will be able to find on my Discord. I'll post it there instead rather than in the description here. So lots of differences for this one. We do have this underwater area I showed you before. And yeah, just a lot more variation in the gardens. So a lot of these flower beds are quite different on all 4 sides. And you'll notice I haven't done any of these statues yet, because I thought for this episode I wanted to do a few differences here. Like, I mostly repeated the same statue over and over. But I was Googling some statues of Greek and Roman gods and goddesses, and I quite liked Artemis. She is the goddess of the hunt and the moon and a few other things. And the Romans have the same goddess, and they call her Diana. And yeah, I think it'll be good, because a lot of the images of her I've seen of her with a bow or next to a deer or an elk or something. And I already have a few statues similar to that. So you might remember this build from a very long time ago. I did a time lapse for this. It's my winter treehouse base. And it's actually been quite a while since I looked at this, so I might just have a quick peek. So we've got these big statues at the front. These aren't the ones I'm talking about, but you can go inside the treehouse here. And we've just got a spiral staircase going up to bunches of levels. I don't think there's a whole lot in here. It's just a few rooms with storage systems and stuff, but I think most of the interesting stuff is right down the bottom here. I can't remember what this looks like. It was so long ago. Let's jump off the edge. Yeah, we've just got a bunch of farms down here. So we've got our sugarcane in the hallways. You can come out here and you can look up through the ice at our treehouse. And yeah, just a bunch of crops around here. Let's get back upstairs and have a look at these statues. So if we go around the side of our treehouse here, we've got my old archer statue, and that one I think would look very nice in our ocean base, so that can be Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. But I've also got a sort of a deer or an elk statue that I designed for my Stone Age time-lapse. So I designed it for the Stone Age time-lapse, but I never actually used it. I ended up using a bunch of mammoths and stuff like that, but I had designed one of the old-fashioned giant mooses. I don't know what they called them back in the Ice Age, but I designed this statue and I was going to have him out in the forest, and I never used him, and I sort of fiddled around with a few smaller versions of him as well. So I think maybe this one looks pretty cool as well. So this one's a moose, but I could probably change it up a little bit to make a nice little deer or an elk to go next to that statue. So that's what I'm going to play around with right now. And you'll notice by the lack of energy in my voice that, yeah, I am having a bit of trouble at the moment recording this video. So 10 days after a heart attack, I really should not be back at work. So I am going to have a rest right now. Oh, that's a horrible looking samurai statue. I was just playing around with that one. Let's not look at these failed versions of statues. Yeah, I'm going to take a little rest right now, then come back and play around with these statues, and let's get those into the survival world so I can actually get this base done for the world download.
Watching you with dark eyes every night, counting up your sins. I keep a list and checking it twice. I know where you've been. I smell the sin and you're looking nice. You can't bury me. You don't love a night. I'm still broken in the gutter. It's just me on my side, but I leave you with the shudder. I got ghosts you don't wanna know. I got ghosts you don't wanna grow. Trying to forget I'm in your head, shatter up your spine. Try not to choke, a funny joke when you say you're mine. Lost your control, think you're alone, I'm still in your mind. You can't bury me. You don't love a night. I'm still broken in the gutter. It's just me on my side, but I leave you with the shudder.
Okay, let's get this episode wrapped up nice and quickly so I can go have a nap. So I've added different statues on every side of the ocean base here. So I've got this one. This is a bull. I designed this a long time ago and I really love it, and I've just been looking for somewhere in my world to put it, so I thought this would be a pretty good spot for it. And then over here, this is the statue I came up with for the lady and the deer. So I've got that moose. I've changed the antlers a little bit, although I think it still does look like a moose. And whoops, I'm climbing up vines all over the place here. And I've got the lady walking there. I've given her a walking stick. I don't know that she actually had one, but it just looked good for the statue. And there we go. She's got a bow on her back. And I've also made a few other changes to the ocean base. So the idea of this base is down below in the gardens. That is not spawn proof. There is a fair bit of light down there, but the mobs can spawn. The idea was that up here would be completely spawn proof, but I did find a spawning space just at the tops of these stairs right here. So I've gone along and on each side just put some lanterns there to stop the spawning. So that's a difference from the one that I did in creative. The creative one will have that spawning space, so just be wary of that if you get that world download and decide to copy it. And the other little change I made was just in here, so I've put a little wall around my storage area. So if I want to AFK, I don't have to go all the way down to the villager trading hall. I can just come in here and I'm nice and safe. Okay guys, we're going to leave it here for today. Recording this episode was a little bit of a struggle, like all the building in this, the Japanese tea shop right at the beginning, and then these statues. I could usually knock that over in about a day or a day and a half, but it has taken me 5 days to get all of that done, so I'm working very slow at the moment. So don't be expecting videos coming out super quickly. I do have a tutorial that I recorded before my little hospitalization, so I'll probably put that out in about 5 days, but other than that, I have designed a Japanese sushi shop, but I don't really feel up to doing a tutorial for that one just yet, so we might leave that for a couple of weeks. I think I'll just I'll put out that tutorial I've already recorded, and I'll just rest for a couple of weeks and slowly chip away at a fun little time lapse that I'm working on. So yeah, hope to see you soon guys. Check the video description for the world download for this lovely ocean base, and if you want the survival version that I've done right here, you can find that in my Discord. So thanks for watching guys, and until next time, I will see you later.